What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today's reaction video is Malice at the Palace. I know this is an NBA video, but I have no clue what it's about. Shout out to Andrew, he suggested this one a while back. I'll put his comment on screen now. And apparently this shaped the league today. A lot of suspensions, so I'm assuming something mental absolutely happens. And a lot of rule changes as well. So let's get straight into this one guys. Hit that like button if you're new around here. And if you've been around here for a while, you're the real legends. I'd really appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button, especially if you're new around here. Hit that notification bell as well. Now, I haven't done many NBA reactions and I want to do more, so let me know if you guys want to see more in the comments guys. If you guys want to see more, I will definitely do more because I'm really enjoying it. But in terms of this, maybe some fighting if there was some suspensions, potentially a cheating scandal. I honestly have no clue. We're just going to get straight into it and enjoy it. Let's go guys.
What's up guys, Mike here, and today we're going to take a look at one of the most controversial moments in NBA history.
Okay.
I'm talking of course about the Malice at the Palace. Now if you don't know what happened on this night, you are in for a surprise, because on November 19th, 2004, several members of the Indiana Pacers, such as Ron Artest and Steven Jackson, ended up going into the stands of an NBA game to fight fans who had taunted. But before we can get to that story, we first need to set the stage for what happened on that horrible night.
Holy, by the way, I don't condone that one bit. You can't be doing that. You cannot be going into the stand to fight fans, no matter how bad they say. Megson say some messed up stuff, but damn, this is going to be interesting.
November 19th, 2004 will forever be remembered as one of, if not the worst, moments in NBA history. The Malice at the Palace would put a black mark on the National Basketball Association that would take years to recover from. It would forever change the careers of Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, and it would change the Indiana Pacers from a contender to a team that would spend close to a decade searching for an identity. But before the fight, before the Throne Cup, before Artest laid himself down on the table, November 19th, 2004 was just a regular season basketball game.
Okay.
A game that would feature two teams who were very much in contention to win the NBA championship. The Detroit Pistons entered the 2005 NBA season as defending NBA champions. The year before, they had beaten a star-studded Los Angeles Lakers team led by 4 Hall of Famers in a victory that would prove to be monumental in terms of NBA history. The Pistons, led by Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, and Ben Wallace, are the only team in NBA history to win a championship without a player who was ever a member of the first team All-NBA. They were a team without a star, baby. And they beat a team full of stars. A true reminder that basketball is just that, a team game. And while everyone remembers the 2004 NBA championship win against the Lakers, they often forget the 2004 Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers. The Pacers, under coach Rick Carlisle, had finished the 2004 season with the best record in the NBA, winning 61 games with a combination of talent and a rough defensive play style. The regular season matchups between the Pacers and the Pistons were knockout affairs, filled with bad blood, and there was certainly no love lost in their 2004 Eastern Conference Finals matchup. The series was physical, competitive, and featured a signature moment that would foreshadow the future events to come. With 4 minutes left and the score tied in what would be the deciding Game 6, Ron Artest hit Rip Hamilton with an elbow to the face. This foul was determined to be flagrant, and it would not soon be forgotten. Ron Artest's flagrant foul would later be considered the most important play in the game, because the foul lit a fire in the Detroit Pistons, which led to them gaining momentum and ultimately the win, which meant the Pacers went home without a chance to defend their home court on Game 7. But still, they believed they were the better team and were determined to prove themselves to the world. And
okay, I like that. You know what? I love how this video is not just going straight into the game. There's quite a few options, but apparently a few of us could have got you blocked. If you're seeing this, I haven't got it blocked, luckily. But I love this idea of building the context from the playoffs before. Heated debate, absolutely love that. The Pistons, definitely the better team, but the Pacers have something to prove, and I say the better team because they won the championship.
It's already in the young 2005 NBA season, the Pacers had begun to build their case that they were the better team. Led by Ron Artest and their new addition Steven Jackson, the Pacers began the season with a 6-2 record, taking a lead in the standings over the Pistons at 4-3. Artest in particular had begun to play at a superstar level. Already known as one of the best defenders in the league, Artest had also begun to significantly raise his offensive level of play. In the 2004 season, he averaged 18 points per game, was the Defensive Player of the Year, was an All-Star, and was named All-NBA third team. In his first 6 games of the 2005 season, Artest was averaging close to 25 points a game to go along with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and the best defense in the league. This was going to be the season where he took the leap, where his name would rise into the discussion of the best players in the NBA. And then his temper got the best of him.
Which brings us to November 19th, 2004, otherwise known as the Malice at the Palace. At the time, this just looked like another regular season marquee matchup between 2 premier teams. This game was on national television, it had star power, it had the defending champs playing a team that desperately wanted to beat them. This game should have been one of the great moments to remember in the 2005 season. But as we already have seen with the bad blood between these 2 teams, the seeds had been planted for an absolute disaster.
But at first, this game did not seem like a disaster for the Pacers. In fact, it seemed like the complete
blowing them out.
With just 57 seconds left in the game, Stephen Jackson knocked down 2 free throws, giving Indiana a 15-point lead over the defending champions. The Pacers had dominated the Pistons on their home court, sending a message to the NBA that there was a new top dog in town.
But throughout the game, there were clear signs that this was not a friendly matchup on both sides. With around 7 minutes left, Rip Hamilton elbowed Jamal Tinsley in the back in what looked like a flagrant foul, sending the Pacers bench into an uproar. Then, with a minute in the half left, Wallace knocked Ron Artest into the basket support after a block, adding more fuel to the fire. That would eventually lead to this.
With under a minute remaining, Ben Wallace caught a pass in the post, turned, and put up a layup in traffic. He was fouled by Ron Artest. It was a hard foul, nothing more. But at this stage in the game, with the outcome decided, Ben Wallace saw this foul as unnecessary. And so, his emotions got the best of him. Wallace hit Artest with a hard shove, which immediately led to a near brawl. Both teams emptied their benches in an attempt to separate the 2 players. And at first, their efforts seemed to be successful. But in an effort to calm down an enraged Ben Wallace, no one paid attention to Ron Artest. In what can only be considered a strange decision, Artest removed himself from the situation by laying down on the scorer's table. He was showered down with a collection of boos from Pistons fans. This was no problem to Ron though. He was a pro, he was used to getting booed. What he was not used to was getting a cup of beer thrown onto his face. It would come from a Detroit Pistons fan named John Green. Amidst the commotion of a near brawl between 2 of the best teams in the NBA, Green lobbed a cup of beer in the direction of Ron Artest. His throw was a direct hit, spilling ice and beer all over Artest's chest and face.
Yeah, something like that, that's not right. I can imagine why he's got fuming, but at the end of the day, he's a professional. If this happens, you've got to... Don't get me wrong, if I was in that situation, I don't know what I'd do. I'm not saying I'd go punching, I'm not saying I'd be cool about it. I'd probably just be like, come on, man, and then let the authorities sort it out. Because I imagine Matt Bang got banned. Let me know in the comments, guys. But in that situation where the tempers are high anyway, I don't know why he's late on the scoreboard. That seems pretty random. But you shouldn't be doing that, man. That's pretty disgraceful from the fan.
Immediately, he sprang to action, ready to punish the man responsible. Seeing this, Pacers radio play-by-play man Mark Boyle attempted to stop him, but Artest was 6'7", 250 pounds of pure muscle. He trampled over Boyle, fracturing 5 of Boyle's vertebrae in his attempts to get into the stands. And in an attempt to back up his teammate, Stephen Jackson followed. The 2 players were in the area of the thrown cup in an instant, but in the confusion, Artest grabbed the wrong fan, a man named Michael Ryan, and threw him to the ground. Artest rocked Ryan back and forth, screaming at him, "Did you do it?" as Ryan tried desperately to tell him that he had made a mistake. As this happened, John Green, the man who actually threw the cup, attempted to put Ron Artest in a headlock. This led to another fan throwing a cup of beer at Artest at close range, spraying beer all over Stephen Jackson. Jackson responded to this by throwing a haymaker at the fan who threw the beer's head, and then continued to try to punch him as several players, fans, and security tried to defuse the situation. This mayhem unraveled to a live national television audience, with Bill Walton putting everyone's thoughts into words, saying simply, "This is a disgrace." Finally, a combination of people grabbed Artest, leading him down to the court. And while the situation in the stands was clearly an issue, things were no better on the actual court. It was so chaotic, in fact, that two Pistons fans made their way onto the court to approach Artest. AJ Shackelford and Charlie Haddad got in Artest's way as he was led to the Pacers locker room. Almost instantly, a screaming Shackelford was punched by Artest in the face.
What?
The punch immediately knocked him down, and he brought...
What the hell? Like, honestly, I'm just sat here so shocked. I did not expect anything like this, guys. Holy. This is absolutely insane. At the end of the day, for professionals, it shouldn't happen. Again, disgrace from the fans, then disgrace from the professionals. Wow. Imagine just being sat there watching a casual NBA game, a fantastic game. I imagine a lot of people watching because, again, it was a premier game against two top teams. And this chaos happening. Yo, that's one way to ruin careers, man. And I imagine there's some hefty suspensions going on soon here. And I wonder what rule changes are going to happen. Maybe if you're a fan, you can't throw beer all over. We will see about that. But holy, man, this is absolutely mental.
Brought his friend Haddad down with him. What happened next almost brought this horrible situation to an even worse level. Walking near Artest, Jermaine O'Neal saw the two fans and decided to take action. O'Neal attempted to land a running knockout punch directly on Haddad's face, but slipped in his attempted action. And thank God he did, because if this punch had landed, it would have caused serious, potentially life-threatening damage. Luckily for everyone involved, his punch was off the mark, just glancing the side of Haddad's face. This would be the last of the Pacers players' despicable actions of the night, but they still had to be led into the locker room. As they were practically carried into the tunnel, the Pistons fans continued to show no mercy to their enemies.
I'm not surprised.
Disgusted by the actions of the opposing team, the fans continued to rain down cups of beer on the Pacers players and staff, with Mike Breen saying, "What a disgraceful sign by the Pistons fans here."
It's disgraceful. At the end of the day, you can't really... everything's disgraceful, isn't it? It was disgraceful throwing the beers in the first place, but what should have happened... When the beers got thrown, the first beer initially, it should have been reported straight away or tested like, nah man, that's not on, kick him out. Lifetime ban from the stadium or something like that, because that is, I know at the end of the day, I've been there at footy games. When I say footy, I mean soccer. Emotions get the best of you. You call them the referee names, you call them the players' names, because emotions get the best of you. But at what point do you have the right to throw a beer at somebody laid down? You know what I mean? So that should have been the way it dealt with, and then it would have been disgraceful from a fan. It just then got unprofessional from there. Absolutely disgraceful from both. Madness. They've just obviously the players have just seen red. Absolute madness, and then even more disgrace from the fans. But at this point, not understand it. You know why we're doing it, because of what's happened. But it's just disgraceful all round, man. The whole situation is disgraceful. Wow. Imagine watching this live.
Clear that this was a dangerous situation for all involved, with Rick Carlisle later saying, "I felt like I was fighting for my life out there."
Wow.
Finally, things calmed down, and the players made it into the locker room without further incident. But it was clear that several players' reprehensible actions needed to be dealt with, and the aftermath of the Malice at the Palace would alter the course of NBA history forever.
The very next day, David Stern released a statement saying, "The events at last night's game were shocking, repulsive, and inexcusable." He would go on to promise an investigation and made it clear that the punishments would be severe, and they were.
Ron Artest was suspended for the remainder of the NBA season without pay. He would take the biggest financial hit of all involved.
Without pay as well. You know what? At the end of the day, you see that clip. This is after. If it had just gone for the fan in the stand and then it had been over after that, you'd have gone suspended. But the fact that this is later on and he's just sung at the guy. Nah, come on, man. He's dying down a little bit. Without pay, 100% deserved, man. 100. He shouldn't have had a beer thrown onto him, but you've got to keep it cool.
Losing over $5 million.
Holy.
And to this day, his 86-game suspension, which includes playoff games, is the longest non-drug-related suspension in NBA history.
I'm not surprised.
As for the other players, Steven Jackson received a 30-game suspension. Jermaine O'Neal got 15 games, and Ben Wallace was suspended for 6 games. Okay. Several other players were also suspended in the aftermath, and the situation was serious enough to be taken to court. The players in the incident got off with only fines and community service agreements, while John Green was charged with 30 days of jail time for throwing the cup that started this all.
Wow.
And while all of this was clearly bigger than basketball, the Malice at the Palace did have a huge impact on the NBA and the Pacers as a whole. Remember, after November 19th, the Pacers now stood at 7-2. They had just convincingly beat their biggest rival and shown the world that they were the best team in the Eastern Conference this season. But now with their star player suspended for the whole year, their title hopes were ruined. Indiana would go on to have a decent season, but again were knocked out of the playoffs by Detroit, creating a finals matchup between the Pistons and the Spurs that may never have happened if Ron Artest did not go into those stands. And speaking of Ron Artest, his career would never be the same. The next season, he demanded a trade and ended up on the Sacramento Kings. In Sacramento, Artest was solid, but he never quite reached the superstar level that it looked like he was headed for in Indiana, which raises a great NBA what if. How good would Ron Artest have been if he could just control his temper?
Never know.
And as for the Pacers, the loss of Artest led to a severe drop of talent in their overall franchise. Their team had lost not only their best player, but their heart and their soul, and it showed, as Indiana would not become a serious championship contender again until 2013. And thank you for watching, guys.
They're getting up there
now,
now,
like this video on the Malice at the Palace. To all my current subscribers.
Yeah, that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this as well. That was absolutely insane. Thank you, Andrew, for suggesting that. It can't be happening, can it? It's also like, it's one of them. It's amazing to see back now, and I imagine if you're a fan at home, it's absolutely chaotic, but it's more, again, it's for shocking, it's for disgraceful, but you kind of like, what is going on? Like, this cannot be real, man. And deserves suspensions, and I can't even believe jail time came out of that. I'm not surprised that it did, but again, it's just that serious. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really have. Let me know in the comments if you want me to check out more basketball stuff or any other stuff. Let me know in the comments, guys. I'd really appreciate that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and have a fantastic day. Peace.